Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, December 19th, 2022. I am Dave Biddle, flying solo on today's show. I was off last week, just a staycation. Didn't go anywhere fancy. Sometimes those are the best vacations, but I appreciate Dan Rubin filling in for me. Did the show all 5 days a week last week, and appreciate Dan's hard work. Great to be back with you guys. A lot to get into on today's show. I see there's already a lot of comments about Dylan Raiola, as Dan himself predicted on last week's show after Dylan's father, Dominic, got a job at Nebraska as an assistant coach, that maybe a decommitment could be forthcoming, and that turned out to be true, unfortunately. So I see there's already some comments about that. Yeah, I think it's as simple as his dad is now coaching at Nebraska. I really think it is that simple. I don't think we need to break it down too much there. His dad played there. His dad's now coaching there. And, this is obviously nothing against Dylan Raiola. He's a fantastic player, but I'm not worried at all about quarterback recruiting when it comes to Ryan Day. It's like if Ohio State would lose a big-time receiver, I wouldn't worry about Brian Hartline. It's like the same thing to me. It's just Hartline lands 4 a year. You can't land 4 quarterbacks a year. But, is anybody worried about Ryan Day landing quarterbacks or developing them? I'm not. As soon as he gets the job, he realizes Tate Martell's not my guy. I got to go get Justin Fields, which now seems like the most obvious thing in the world. But there were some people out there that thought Tate Martell should have been the quarterback, and Ryan Day knew right away. Turned out Justin Fields was pretty good, And for all the flack C.J. Stroud gets for not running, and I've been critical of him too for not running, he's still a hell of a quarterback. 2-time Big Ten quarterback of the year, will be a top 10, could be the top overall pick, will definitely be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Not worried about quarterback recruiting. I like the guys they have in the pipeline with Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. They'll be all right. They'll be okay. All right, so I wanted to lead off with that because I know there's a lot of comments about that. But I really want to get into Ohio State, Georgia. We'll talk more about recruiting later. We're 12 days away from the college football playoff. Ohio State's 2 games away from winning the national championship. It's like we're not even talking about it enough. We're talking about NIL. We're talking about guys that are 2024 recruits, which is all that stuff's important, and I talk about it. But I want to talk Ohio State, Georgia, and break this down a little bit. Not to get too much into the weeds, but looking at this, I don't feel like Ohio State's some huge, massive underdog here. I don't think they're talent-wise. I feel like this is not a mismatch. Give Georgia all the respect. They're number 1 for a reason. They're defending national champs, but Ohio State's got plenty of talent. Just because it's recency bias, but because they got their ass kicked in the second half against Michigan, it's now Ohio State's little Ohio State has no chance here, which I like. I like that underdog role. So you look at it, the Vegas line is holding steady. It's at Georgia, favored by 6.5. So Vegas line holding steady. In fact, the money is a little bit going toward Ohio State. Most of the money is going toward Ohio State, so that might even drop to 6 eventually. And again, Ohio State as an underdog is very dangerous. We've seen it time and time again. That doesn't mean they're going to win this game. I do feel like it's almost like a 50-50 game, or 55-45 Georgia. I feel like it's pretty tight. And Georgia might be a little overconfident. Ohio State's going to come in, hopefully, playing loose, playing hungry with that underdog role. In theory, if they do buy into that, the mental side of sports is huge. So it's not a coincidence that Ohio State has such a good record when they're an underdog. It's so rare that they are. They have not been one in the last 2 seasons. This is the first time. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's look at so when I say it's not a mismatch, just talent-wise, if you look at the 24/7 Sports, composite talent for both teams, it's very comparable. And then you look at the national stats this year. This is not up for interpretation. This is not recruiting rankings and stuff like that and people ranking players. This is just math. All right. Ohio State is 6th in the country in total offense. Georgia is 7th in the country in total offense. Ohio State's 6th, Georgia 7th, total offense. Total defense, Georgia is 9th, Ohio State is 11th. Again, Georgia 9th, Ohio State 11th in total defense. These teams are very evenly matched. And yeah, Georgia's strength of schedule is a little tougher than Ohio State, but not markedly. Those stats are very equal. Almost as equal as you could possibly be. 6th and 7th, 11th and 9th. So, again, I feel like this is almost a 50-50 game. I really do. And, we'll see what happens. I also find this interesting. So Ohio State's the number 4 seed, but according to Vegas, they're the number 2 seed. Let me explain. So you can look at these like future lines, like these possible lines. Like if Ohio State and Michigan win, come on, and they have the rematch in the national championship game, Ohio State would be favored by 3 in Los Angeles. Vegas has Ohio State, even despite the fact they got beat in Columbus. Vegas has Ohio State as a 3-point favorite over Michigan on a neutral field if it happens. If Ohio State plays TCU in the national championship game, which is obviously the biggest long shot out there, Ohio State would be favored by 10 points. So, again, Ohio State is the 4th seed, but like really talent-wise, when you look at it, Vegas doesn't have – this isn't opinions. They're just, you know – I know they're trying to get money on both sides, but these are future lines. They're not even like open yet. This is what the line would be. And Ohio State's the second best team in this field. Now, they not second best as far as what they've earned. Obviously, Michigan earned the number 2 seed, but just saying, I keep hearing Ohio State's this massive underdog. They're not. They're an underdog. Georgia's a hell of a team. They're playing in their home state. They should be favored. All right, let's get to Ohio State's running backs. Now, Miyan Williams is 100%. He said that last week when we talked to him. We went over there I was technically off work, but, I wasn't going to miss media day over there. We had like on-campus media day on Wednesday and got to talk to like 20 players. Not like 20 players. We talked to exactly 20 players. Jerry Emick knocking it out for us. It was really cool. So I asked Miyan, how close to 100% are you now? How much has this rest helped you? He said, I'm 100% right now. It's not like I'm close to 100%. So that was last week. Now, athletes tend to say they're 100% when maybe they're not quite. But you can tell this rest has helped Miyan, and now he gets 12 more days till the game. So look for a healthy dose of Miyan Williams as your starting running back. As I'm sure you guys know, Travion Henderson is out. And I hear this smoke that Travion's going to transfer. That's not what I'm hearing. Maybe things can change. That's not what I'm hearing at all. I'm hearing he's going to come back next year. He intends to have an excellent junior year next year. He's playing on a broken foot. Yeah, I know he removed stuff from his Twitter. I mean, people were coming at him saying he was soft. They didn't know he was playing with the broken foot. Jeez, I can't play old man tennis when I had a little minor little hairline fracture in one of my feet. Let alone play running back for Ohio State out there on a broken foot. Give me a break. But the good news is I'm hearing that that Trey is not going to transfer. I don't know. I mean, I think people just saw that he's took Ohio State stuff down and just assumed that. So that's good news. And I will say this about people coming at the players on social media. I do think it's a vast minority of Buckeye fans. I think like most of you in the chat right now, when I'm doing the show solo, it's really hard to keep up with the comments, the live comments, but I'm sure a lot of you right now are the types that are not going on social media and bashing these kids. Maybe sometimes you don't something ticks you off, but you keep it to yourself. And if anything, you support them. I think that's the vast majority of Buckeye fans. They're very supportive of these young men on social media, but it takes 1 or 2 bad apples to make everybody look bad and to make these kids feel like they're being attacked. So anyway, 1 is too many, but I do feel like the vast majority of Buckeye fans are behind the players. Anyway, I'll stop my little tangent there. So Miyan's 100%. Travion's out for this game, but I'm hearing he's not going to transfer. Dallan, Hayden, and Chip Trayanum are the next 2 guys up. Even though they keep saying it's when Ryan Day is asked directly about it, he's like, no, ball security is an issue for every running back. That's why I talk about it. Come on. Every time he brings up Dallan Hayden or he's asked about Dallan Hayden, he immediately goes to ball security. That tells me that in practice, I'm not breaking news here, there must be some ball security issues with Dallan Hayden. Chip Trayanum looked good to me against Michigan. Maybe now he's knocked the rust off. He finally got, some game reps. He had 1 carry coming into the Michigan game. So Miyan Williams is a starter. Lean on him. Hopefully he can stay healthy. And then if you need, another guy or 2, you got your pair and a spare. So with Dallan Hayden, assuming that they have faith in Dallan Hayden, that he can get out there and not fumble. He looked great against Maryland. There's been 1 game since Maryland. I mean, it's not like that was early in the season. So maybe he's just been fumbling like crazy in practice. That must be what it is. It couldn't be 1 or 2 fumbles for Ryan Day when he's asked about Miyan Williams, he doesn't talk about ball security. When he's asked about Chip Trayanum, he doesn't talk about ball security. Hey, how do you feel about Dallan Hayden? Well, he's got to make sure he gives the ball back to the official after the play. So it's like, okay, so he's fumbling a lot in practice, right, Coach? No, I didn't say that. But so there you go. All right, transfer portal. Need to hit it hard this offseason. It's another thing I wanted to hit hard on the show today. Got to hit it hard. They got the ball rolling a little bit. Landed John Ferlmann. It's a long snapper from Arizona State. 3 years of eligibility remaining. And listen, we just have to talk about the game to know how important a long snapper is. Up to that point, Mason Arnold had been really good since taking over for Brad Robinson. Brad Robinson was perfect. His, 3 years, including this one as the starter. Brad Robinson did a great job, and it just goes to show you the importance of long snapper. And, Mason Arnold just didn't get the signal in the Michigan game on the fake punt. We saw the same thing happen with the Tampa Bay Bucks against the Bengals yesterday. It wasn't this long snapper. It was Gio Bernard. The up back didn't get the signal. It would have been like Mitch Rossi not getting the signal instead of the long snapper not getting the signal. Mitch Rossi would have cruised for an easy first down, maybe a touchdown, if the long snapper would have realized the fake punt was on. But I digress. All right, so they got the ball rolling with the long snapper. I don't want to hear anybody making fun of that because, just like I said, long snappers are important. You don't think they're important until they are. So that's good. But now it's time to really hit the portal. I know that Ohio State's preparing for the college football playoff, but last time I checked, so is Michigan, and they're hitting the portal hard. So no time to waste. And I know Mark Pantoni is as meticulous as it gets, him and his staff. They're turning over every leaf. I have no doubt about that. I'm sure they're in on guys. I don't know specific guys that they're in on, but here's what I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through, I think, positions that Ohio State needs to hit in the portal, the guys they need to land. They have to land, for example, an offensive tackle, in my opinion. You got to land an offensive lineman, and it's got to be an offensive tackle. And if they land 2 in the portal, I won't cry at all over that. I'll be smiling if they land 2. But just give me one good one in the portal. It's Ohio State. You can pull that off. Justin Fry, the recruiting staff they have, again, Mark Pantoni, Ryan Day, find an offensive tackle. You're about ready to have either the number 1 or number 2 offensive lineman off the board in the draft, and Paris Johnson. Use that. No, he hasn't declared yet, but he's going to go pro. We all know that. So you got to get an O lineman. I think depending on what happens with Cade Stover, because he's talking like he might go pro. Maybe he said he already has. I don't know. I've lost track of some of the guys. I know Ronnie Hickman said he's going pro already. It's like it used to be. Tressel used to tell. I sound like an old man here. Tressel used to tell the guys, even when it was obvious, like don't announce till after the bowl game. Like I remember Santonio Holmes, it was the most obvious thing in the world that he was going to turn pro. And he was a 4th-year junior, redshirted the national championship season in 2002. And Tressel had told him to wait till after the Fiesta Bowl that year in 2005. And then finally Santonio told us that. And we were like, he was telling you not to say anything. He's like, yep, sure was. By that, he didn't care, But so anyway, a bunch of guys are announcing that they're, have already decided that they're leaving. So if Cade Stover does not come back, I think they got to get a tight end. Now they have other guys in the program, that they can use. Maybe they're high on G. Scott Jr. and Joe Royer and Bennett Christian and these guys, recruits coming in. But I still think if you lose Cade Stover, you got to get a tight end, in my opinion. All right. If you lose if Tommy Eichenberg goes pro, hopefully he doesn't. That'd be a huge loss. If Eichenberg goes pro, you got to get a linebacker. You got to get a Mike. Steel Chambers is not a Mike. Cody Simon's not a Mike. CJ Hicks is now banged up. Looks like he's had a serious leg injury. He's not a Mike anyway. Sonny Styles might move down to linebacker, but he's not a Mike. Hopefully Tommy comes back and it's not a thing. But if he leaves, got to get I wouldn't mind them getting a running back. We'll see what happens with Miyan Williams. We saw there with depth, getting a running back wouldn't be bad. Hit the portal hard. I'm not talking about, you don't need to do a Mel Tucker. Now he had it. I'm not making fun of Mel Tucker. He had to do it and did a great job with it. You don't need to overturn your whole roster and get like 20 people in here. Okay. But get 5. That's not even that much in this day and age. I mean, they got 3 last year, but it was kind of low level, it's kind of low level ish. You know what I mean, though. I mean, Tanner McAllister is a solid player. Chip Trayanum's a solid player. Then they got the kicker, Parker Lewis, we know nothing about yet. They got 3 last year. I want at least 5, but I want them to be of higher quality. I don't think that's too much to ask. This is Ohio State. Let's go. All right. Early signing day is Wednesday. We're going to meet with Ryan Day, and maybe we'll get Mark Pantoni someday. Some years we get him. Most years we don't. Maybe I'll send him a message and say, can we please get you out there? Because he's always good. We always love talking to him. And he's such a huge part of what they do. So Wednesday at noon, Ryan Day. Buckeyes right now, the number 7 class in the country. Which when you're Ohio State, you're not used to being the 7th class in the country, this close to signing day. 20 commits in the class. Now, they are, there could be some good news. We'll see. On signing day, Damon Wilson will make his announcement. Most of you probably know, but if you don't, number 6 edge rusher in the country, number 40 nationally. That's according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. According to in-house 24/7 Sports rankings, he's the number 2 edge rusher, number 17 overall, and is a 5-star. Very high 4-star in the composite, 5-star in the in-house 24/7 Sports rankings. So splitting hairs, he's really good, and he's been Fong bombed to Ohio State. Steve Wiltfong has put his crystal ball in. This is a long time ago. Put his crystal ball in for Ohio State, and Damon Wilson will make his announcement. It's on ESPN. Yeah, it's on ESPN. I'm not sure what time. I don't know if they've even announced that yet. And, that's always fluid anyway. They have those player announcements. I guess with ESPN, it's probably a little more streamlined. You have to be. But Damon Wilson announcing, that would be a huge get. Obviously, I don't need to tell you guys that. Georgia's also in the mix. It looks like a 2-team race right there. This kid's from Venice, Florida. But I like that Steve Wiltfong, obviously, has put a crystal ball in for the Buckeyes to land him. So that's huge. Steve Wiltfong, last month, also, speaking of edge rushers, put a crystal ball in for Joshua Mickens to be a Buckeye. That'd be huge. 4-star, number 1 player in the state of Indianapolis. State of Indiana. Steve Wiltfong lives in Indianapolis, so that makes me feel even better about it. It's not just anywhere in the country I'd feel good about a Fong bomb, but in his own state of Indiana, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. So this young man, number 1 in the state of Indiana, and Joshua Mickens is the number 20 edge rusher and the number 136 overall player in the country. Solid 4-star kid. So if they can get those 2, that'd be fantastic. Damon Wilson and Joshua Mickens, and the fact that Steve Wiltfong has put a crystal ball in for both of them to Ohio State is fantastic. Now, you're wondering about Matayo, I'm sure. It's a mystery. No crystal balls for him yet. My gut tells me he'll probably go elsewhere. I know he likes Ohio State a lot. His dad likes Ohio State a lot. With his brother transferring, maybe he'll go wherever his brother goes. Seems to make sense, right? It's like we started the show off talking about Dylan Raiola. It's not a mystery. Sometimes this stuff is really straightforward. Like, is this like, this NIL? Is it like this? Is it his dad is coaching at Nebraska and his dad went to Nebraska? It makes a lot of sense. It's his dad. That's what happened with Dylan Raiola. So Matayo, if his brother transfers to USC, especially somewhere close to home, not that USC needs a quarterback next year, or somewhere close to home, maybe he'll do that. Maybe he'll want to make his own path. I don't know. My gut tells me it won't be Ohio State, but I know Ohio State's certainly in the running. No doubt about it. He likes Ohio State, but just a gut feeling I have. I don't have any inside information there on Matayo, just a gut feeling I have. Hey, like I said, they land Damon Wilson on signing day and get Joshua Mickens as well. Call it a day. I'd also take Matayo in the class. I'm sure Ryan Day would as well, but that'd be plenty good for the edge rushers. All right. Appreciate you guys joining me. Good to be back in the saddle. Missed you guys. And it was good talking some Ohio State football. 12 days away from the college football playoff. Ohio State against Georgia. Can't wait. Thanks again to all of you. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day.